This is Larry Lawton, and he's an ex-jewel thief. Larry's a former career criminal, once considered the biggest jewel thief in the United States.
And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, man, I can rob these guys. I can rob. There's only one guy. You know, I was crazy back then. I was a really nut job. I'll never forget. I come out of there and I tell the guys, I go, man, hey guys, I think we can rob these guys in this money. And they're thinking I'm crazy. They go, no, you're psycho. We're gonna get killed. Well, I hope everybody's liking these summarized chapters now. That's what we're doing. I go through the book a little bit. I take some notes to summarizing and telling stories, bringing back memories. Some good, some bad. I'm not proud of what I'm doing. I know people will say that, oh, he can talk to it so freely. It is who I am. We are who we are. You can't change that. You have to accept who you are. And if they don't, you know what can I say? I can't help that. This next chapter was chapter 4, which is called the Daytona 800,000. And I'll tell you why. This is when I start my hustling career. This is when I start understanding about hustling. And the first thing is, I always wanted a concealed weapon permit. In Florida, it's pretty easy. So what do? I get a private investigator's license. And I do get a concealed weapon permit, and I actually have that. That's pretty cool. And I had it. Of course, I don't have it now. I'm a convicted felon. But anyway, so I get that, and I go to work for a company. I was talking to a guy, and he goes, I need somebody. And he knew I was on this fringes. He knew I had a lot of balls. I can do things. And the guy's name was Paul Iger. So he owned a place called University Security. And I go work for University Security, and I run the whole place. I had 100 guards working for me. And it was all about the scam. I mean, we were billing places that shouldn't have been billed. We had a contract with the school board of Broward County. And every time a school alarm system's not working or a window gets broken, they have to bring in security guards. So he would call me. A guy I had a school board at that time, school board security, was a guy named Russ Cochran. Ended up becoming sheriff. But I was paying Russ Cochran $500 a week, every week. And what would he do? He would sign off on hours that I didn't do. Of course, he would put guards at places we didn't need them. I even had sometimes hired kids to go break a window, so I'd have that place covered. Even if I had to put a guard there, I'd pay the guard $4 or $5 an hour. It was $3.25, I think, was minimum wage then, and I'm getting $8 or $10 an hour from the school board. So it was a hell of a scam, and that's how I learned. I started doing all scams and making money, and that's what you did. I mean, I paid Russ. I did all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you another little scam I had. I remember when I robbed wedding dresses. It was funny, you know, I was talking to a guy in New York, and he had a wedding shop, and I knew there was a wedding shop where I work, where I had my pizzeria. And he says, I said to him, I said, listen to me. If I get you wedding dresses, he goes, Larry, you get me wedding dresses, I'll give you $300 a wedding dress. I don't care. You give me any wedding dress, I'll give you $300. I said, deal. And understanding the hustle, I said, this is the first lesson I learned, and I learned it young. Don't ever rob anything you can't get rid of. If I robbed wedding dresses and I couldn't get rid of them, what good would it have been? I would have been stuck with a bunch of wedding dresses in a warehouse, you know, waiting to get caught, or just eating up warehouse money that you have to pay. And you don't ever want to get caught going in, something happens, they get ruined, and then you got to get rid of them. It's just a pain. Don't ever steal anything you can't get rid of. Case in point, I had a guy in who worked for the security, University Security Company, and he ends up leaving, and he goes with another company, and they had the security for the Miami Convention Center. And one time he calls me up, he says, hey Larry, he goes, I'm guarding all these Picassos, Rembrandts, and all this stuff. He goes, you want them? You want them? I said, hold on, let me make some phone calls. I called New York. I couldn't get 5 cents on the dollar, 7 cents, 2 cents, 3 cents. That means if I rob $1 million picture, I can't get 10 grand, 15 grand. It's not worth stealing. I mean, you got to be crazy to steal something like that. So I passed on that, but I started learning. So when the guy says to me, yeah, give me the thing, I said, man, I'm going to go rob this wedding place. Sure enough, found out there were no alarms. Literally crowbarred the back door, rented a ride-a-rent-a truck, backed it right up to the store, literally rolled racks of them right onto the thing, put everything into the thing, went up to New York City. I got 25,000. I wanted 30 grand. He had 25 grand. Probably his hustle against me, but put it this way, we're all happy, and that's just hustling. You know, learn to hustle. Don't steal what you can't get rid of, you know. Then, being a smart criminal, what do? Okay, I need to learn about diamonds because I know I'm getting stole. You know, meaning the guys I'm dealing with know about diamonds. So Larry's got to say, I got to learn about diamonds. So what do? I go to the GIA Institute under the table. I paid a guy 10 grand, and he actually had, I think it was 4 or 6 of us, in a room above one of the stores, and they actually literally gave us the lesson on the 4 C's: the cut, clarity, color, all the things you need to know the 4 C's of a diamond, and then watch they get cut and know how to grade them and understand what the cut means. And I don't mean a round cut or a marquee or a square diamond. I mean the cut, the geometric cut that actually brings light back. So I started learning my trade. And I know it's crazy, but that's what you got to do. And to be successful in anything, you got to do something like that. You know, and it's, you know, it's funny because after I go to the diamond school, I'm casing stores. And when I go into these stores, I'm learning that these diamond people are bigger crooks than I was. And you go, what do you mean? Listen, they start telling you about, oh, look at this beautiful diamond. And I know already about diamonds. And I know how they hide inclusions, hide flaws in a diamond under the facets and stuff like that. And I'm just saying nothing like I'm some ignorant guy that worked for FEMA or something, or at that time, a construction company, or whatever it was. And I'll get into that. And he's trying to rob me, literally. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm going to rob this guy. This guy's really bad. I know what he's doing to people. And if he's doing that to me, how many people is he really doing it to? So it's kind of like, I know it's like, I'm not justifying robbing. I know it sounds like that. But just be careful. You know, I always tell people, the third biggest purchase you'll ever make is a diamond. You're going to buy a house. You're going to buy a car. And probably a diamond is the next biggest purchase you'll ever make. Be careful. Do your research. Shop around. Don't go to one and let them sell you because they're bigger criminals probably than I was. Then you go to casing the store. You know, in this regard, that's where you make your money. That's when you know you're good. When you case a store, and I case the store the best, and FBI says, why didn't you ever quit? Well, that's another whole story, but I didn't quit because the high was better than any drug I ever done. But when you case a store, you got to know first of all, you case a store backwards. And when I say backwards is, can I get away with it? Can I case it and get away with it without getting caught? So what do? I used to case stores, and I used to get a store that was in a plaza, like a shopping plaza, Publix or a Winn-Dixie or Pathmark, one of those stores that you might know from up north. And what I would do is, it's easy to sit in a car and watch that store when you're doing something like that, because there's other people around, and people are coming and going. They don't know if you're waiting for your wife. They don't know anything. So it's a good place to rob. Plus, people come and go, and you'd be surprised how people are oblivious of what goes on around them. Like, one of the big things I did was I made sure the glare of the window. When I cased the store, if the sun was coming up, the sun comes up in the east and falls in the west. So if the store is facing the east, the sun is coming against that glass, and the glare off that glass, you can't see in unless you go right up to that window and look in. So I would look for stores like that, and the timing for the store to rob it, when to rob it, and also number of employees, who's coming, who's going, when are they coming, when are they going, what cars are they using, how many employees, who opens, who closes, is it the same people, is it different, even the routes they take, are they coming up the same block? So some of the times I'd even follow them to where they go, especially the owner or the person who I had to make sure he's the one opening or closing. So I would know when the mailman comes, whether cops were in the area at a certain time. So you have to really case a store. And then you have to even case your getaway. And that'll tell you at the end when my actual getaway goes wild and on one of my stores, and it's my last robbery, and it's a pretty crazy story. But in this case, I cased the store really good. You know, I used to see if the people had display cases in the window that you couldn't see in the window. And did they have the buzzers on those doors? Those buzzers on those doors, you know, when you get buzzed into a jewelry store, it's good for me. Because once you use a buzzer, nobody's going to come in behind me and surprise me. I know who it is. If somebody comes up to the door to try to get in, I'll buzz them in, and then I know they're there. I can go up to them, say, this is a robbery, and that's what I did. So casing the store is really, really important. There's those are the kind of, I hate to say tips of casing, but that's how important casing the store is. You got to know what you're going to rob. It's funny because I didn't rob stores that were national chains like Mayors or Zales or something like that, because if you rob them, they don't have what they call the small box of diamonds. I robbed wholesalers. Wholesalers are guys who would sell, they have a store, but they would sell to other jewelers. They always have a box about this long, and in that box there is diamonds, and they're loose diamonds. So when they know who you are, when I come in as a businessman, a construction worker, a construction contractor who's got money now and he wants to buy his wife a nice ring, I would come in and I'd have a diamond bracelet, and I'd have a gold Rolex, and I'd have a pinky ring and all of that stuff. And the guy would come in and he would know I have money, so he's trying to sell me a diamond. So what does he do? He breaks out the loose box. So let's say the box is this long, and I ask for a carat diamond, and he pulls it out from over here. Then I ask for a carat and a half, and he goes this way. Then I know all of these diamonds are big diamonds and probably nice diamonds, loose, ready to be set. So if this diamond is a carat here and a carat and a half here, I know all of these are big diamonds. If he goes the other way, I know it's all a bunch of garbage. So I got to know how to pinpoint that box, how much that box was worth. Every jeweler will have one. They'll break it out for a customer and put it on the table and say, let me show you a stone. And they will show it to you under a microscope and with the tweezers and what they call a loop. And it's a magnifying glass. And you'd look at it and you could see, probably most people won't know what they're looking for. I do. But it was funny because I'd actually be casing that store. While he's doing that, I'm saying I could rob him there. I know where he puts it. Most jewelry store owners don't put that box back near the safe. It usually goes into a back room, maybe behind a floorboard or something like that. And that's important to know as well, because that's the box that I wanted. I knew I would get that box, and that box worth money for me. Oh boy, here I go. That's the money. So that's knowing what you're doing and where it is. Then you have to be, you know, I said it earlier a little bit, you got to become someone. I'll tell you a funny story. I would go into a store, and I'd actually go into an area. I would look around, and in Florida, like in Daytona, what I did was I went to the beach condos, and I would see which beach condos, the big buildings on the beach, which one was boarded up, you know, with the winter hurricane shutters. Now they're up. So I went into a building, I saw that the second floor was all shuttered up, and I knew what apartment it was because I looked, made sure I knew exactly which one it was, and I looked on the directory and I got the name of that guy. I looked up that guy's phone number in the telephone book, and I kept calling the number, making sure nobody answers. Back then, cell phones weren't as popular. So I kept calling that number and nobody answered, so I know he's not in town, and I can use that guy. I become that guy. So what I did was I made myself that name. I actually one time even made business cards from that. But what I did was I ended up taking this guy's name, whole persona, and I went to the jewelry store as that man. I said, I'm a contractor. I have a condo over here, right here. Gave him the address. Here's my phone number. The guy would always want to get my ring or something off me to clean. That's a scam they use as well. Because once they take something off you to clean it, they then keep you there while they're talking to you about your piece or whatever it is. So now the guy's cleaning my piece, and I would say, hey, listen, can you clean that, and I'll come back tomorrow or the next day. I just got a bunch of stuff, though. You can clean it. We'll talk about the diamonds. He's definitely thinking he's got a buddy. Keep him. Here's my number. When you're done, give me a call. If I'm not out, don't worry about it. I'll call you later. And sure enough, he'd take my number down, my name. He thinks he got me. How does this guy think I'm going to be a criminal? He thinks nothing of it. Might he even called that number? I don't know. If he did, it's going to go to nobody, so it doesn't matter. So anyway, I go back and I got that guy. And now the next time I come in just to pick it up, he thinks he's got a great customer. So I said, yeah, let me think about that. Let me talk about my partner who's in here too. I'll bring him in as well. And maybe he'll want, but he knows a little bit more about this stuff than I do. And maybe in a few days when we're slow on the job, we'll come in. Sure enough, when I do come in loaded that time, the next time, I got pillowcases in my pants underneath them. I got a sports jacket on. So my tattoo, I had a few tattoos, not as many as I do now. But I had a tattoo or two, and they'd be covered. I usually had either no goatee, clean shaving. Maybe I had my hair different color. Then I had hair red. I had glasses, which I didn't wear back then. So, but they were just glass, so you look like I wore glasses. And the guy thought he knew me, and so now I'm coming in, and actually I got my flex cuffs in pockets. I got a pair of gloves, had them. I had the pillowcases. I had flex cuffs. I'm all ready to go. I had a fake gun. I had a BB gun in my back of my small of my back. So when I came in, the guy thinks automatically, oh, this guy's a good customer. Okay. Matter of fact, when I went into the Daytona job, the owner of the plaza where this store was actually in the store talking to the guy. And I just was browsing. And I said, hey, I don't forget the guy's name. I said his name. Hey, he didn't say my name. I think I was Michael Roberts at that time. He goes, hi, Mike. I'll be with you. I said, yeah, take your time. I'll never forget, the owner of Plaza goes, let me go. You got customers. And sure enough, we robbed him right there. But that guy left. Anyway, once that guy left, I make sure that the owner of the jewelry store is not near any counter where there's a buzzer. Where I could see his hands, so they have buzzers that they can actually click a buzzer in their hand, or if it's in their pocket, it's like on a keychain. So I would make sure he's between somewhere. Now the guy I brought in is supposedly looking around, maybe talking to the other employee, which they were doing. And now, right when I go, I pull out that gun and I come hard. Get down, it's a robbery. And the guy gets down on the floor. He's in the middle of nowhere. He's behind the counter. So once he's down, even somebody walking by can't see anything. Even if they looked in, they couldn't see anything. I quickly flex cuff him, put my gloves on, tell him don't open his eyes. And the other person is down by this time as well. Now they're both neutralized. Now you take the pillowcases out, start opening cabinets. You're breaking everything out. You know where the diamonds are in the safe. You know where that box is. You're putting everything into these whole entire their pillowcases full, total pillowcases full. There were literally 2, 3 of them. I had 4 of them, and they would be near the door, ready to go when I signaled the next guy to come around back with the car, because that's how you did it, and I had to go then. In and out right away. And when I say we had a fake plate, I would rob a plate the night before, just on a different car. Doesn't matter what car. And I would rob a plate. And just in case someone saw a car leaving, fastly and took a plate number, it would be a phony plate. But the first thing I did when I stopped on the highway, I'd get straight to 95. I was up and down the east coast of the United States. And wherever I was, once I got on 95, I would get into a rest area, and I would change the plate back to the legal plate. Totally nothing that would look, the jewelry's in the trunk. Nobody, you couldn't even know. You wouldn't even know that this was a robbery. Especially if the robbery was done by 2 guys. There might be 3 guys now. It would look like just 3 guys, and we'd be like in our regular jeans and stuff like that. We'd change out of our clothes. Everything would be in the trunk. So we would look like we were just like construction workers or something like that. So we never got stopped on the way up. We never sped, never did anything stupid like that. But that's what you did. That's how quick you got out of the place. It was, you really had to do quick with that, with the buzzers and everything else. If you didn't, you're gonna get, caught. Matter of fact, in that Daytona robbery, a funny story. We were waiting, so I robbed the store and I got the jewelry ready to go, and I go out to look out the front door to see, to signal my guy to come around back, and there was a cop waiting. There was actually a cop in the spot right in front of him, just sitting there. It wasn't for us or anything, of course. He was just sitting there. Now I'm waiting. I couldn't do anything because I didn't know how long these people would take to get out of their flex cuffs or anything like that. And I said, oh my God, what do I gotta wait? I ended up waiting about 30 minutes, 30 minutes in the store until those cops left. They went on their way, and wherever they went, they're gone. So at least I know, even if I get in the car and these guys get out of their flex cuff in 3 minutes, I'm gone in 3 minutes. They don't know what direction I went or anything like that. And usually in a few minutes, I'm up near 95. At the Daytona store, the store was down towards the water, right before the bridge, going over the bridge. And it was you come down International Drive. That's where Daytona Raceway is. Everyone knows the Daytona 500. But that's the road it was on. So at the end of that road is what they call a circle going up to go over the bridge to go to beachside. But it was right there, right before that. And it was, so all I had to do was come out, make a right, and I would get right on International Drive, straight up to 95, head 95 north. And I was in about 16, 17 hours, I was in New York City. That's how quick. Never stopped. Didn't stop to eat, get gas, and that was it. And then it was payday time. And when they paid me, it was great because I used to get a bag of cash. And at that store, it was $800,000, and I ended up getting about $400,000, $300,000 to $400,000. It was my end. And I ended up having a bag of cash, bag of $100 bills. And I used to go always to Positano's, a little place in Little Italy, New York, and Rocky was the owner, and he owned Fratelli's and Positano's. And I used to eat in Positano. I used to have vodka rigatoni. To this day, I love vodka rigatoni. And I would sit down with a bag of cash, and then, of course, my pistols in my back. But I would sit there and love my food. I would just love my food. And it was funny because I used to go down underneath, and down where they used to pay me, down where they melt gold, make gold, fix diamonds. It's down to real jewelry. I call it the Real Diamond Centers in Little Italy, below Little Italy, around Chinatown, but below it. And there's a whole 4-block area that's, they might have 50 merchants in one store, but below it, they have like security, and they have a safes, and they have a melter, and they have everything. And there's a lot of shady things go on down there. When I was down there once, I saw them pay me with a box. They took out a suitcase full of money. It had to be millions of dollars, a couple $1 million at least. And they take it out of a floorboard and they put it in the machine to pay me, and the machine, then it pops up if it's a bad bill. They don't want to give me a bad bill. They don't want to give me counterfeit and get caught or anything like that. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, man, I can rob these guys. There's only one guy. I was crazy back then. I was a really nut job. I'll never forget, I come out of there and I tell the guys, I go, man, hey guys, I think we could rob these guys in this money. And they're thinking I'm crazy. They go, no, you're psycho. We're going to get killed. And obviously, we would have got killed. Talk about being stupid. You're probably being wanted by not only the police, you're wanted by the bad guys. You're wanted by, forget it. I mean, I think back about that, and it was just a fleeting thought of being stupid. And sure enough, I didn't do it. Thank God. Never thought about that after that. So I ended up casing a store in Sarasota, Florida. It's kind of a funny story. I cased a store in Sarasota, Florida. If anybody knows anything about Sarasota, Florida, it's on the west coast of Florida. It's got one of the best beaches in the world called Lido Beach. The sand is pure white, doesn't get hot. Just a beautiful area, very wealthy area, nice. So I robbed a jewelry store, and I'll never forget, it's right next to a dive shop. So it's next to the dive shop, and I case it, and it looks good. It's not a mega store for money, but it's a pretty good score. And I said, okay. And it's in a kind of busy plaza. Like I said, there was a dive store right next door, meaning scuba diving. So people come and going in there, and anyway, it didn't bother me. It never bothered me. I always looked for the back and the front entrance, how to do it. So I go into the store. I put the people down. I got my partner in, and we clear it out, and we got a guy waiting in the car. But while we're doing the robbery, 2 old people come in. They walk in, and they, buzz the buzzer, and I let them in, and I open my jacket, and I have a gun there, and I say, hey, you're in on a robbery. And they go, we're gonna. I said, no. You're not gonna. I always worried about, never gagged people. I never wanted people to get hurt. I never did, and nobody ever did. physically hurt. They did get mentally hurt, so that's just misnomer too. I did hurt people psychologically. But anyway, these two old people come in, and they wanted to go down. I said, no, 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 no. I said, you come over here. Put them in a chair. I said, just look at the wall. Just look at that wall over there. That's all I want you to do. Don't move, and when I leave, you have to wait 10 minutes. I'm going to check, but just don't move. So they go, okay. Didn't gag them, didn't close them, didn't tie them up, didn't do a thing. So I do the robbery, and I tell my one of my partners, I give him the signal to come around back. Well, the moron doesn't come back around right quick. I don't know if he saw somebody or what. He didn't come around. I go outside with a bag of jewelry, and my partner too, with a bag of jewelry, and he's not there. I turn around, I go, I'm standing. I turn around quickly, walk back in. I look at the old people. I said, I'm just checking you. And it was so funny. They go, no, we're not moving. Never forget. So go back, give him the nod again. Come on, you moron. He comes around, he picks me up. We're gone. Boom. On the road, across the state, back to 95, back up north. Well, in the paper the next day, it said, they interviewed the old couple, and the old couple said, oh, he was a nice man. I get a kick out of that because I was nice to them. But I'm not nice. I just robbed the place for about $500,000 or $600,000, and I'm like, oh, he's a nice guy. Now I'm gonna say this, and I know this is people get mad at this. The people who really hated me the most were the insurance companies. The insurance companies hated me because they ended up having to pay off big. Even in one robbery, the FBI goes, wow, you got $1.2 million out of that store, Larry. I go, whoa, I never got $1.2 million out of that store. I said, that was about $800,000. And then they started laughing. He says, well, the owner put in $1.2 million. And I laughed, and he laughed too. He goes, what am I going to do? Tell him he's wrong? But, everyone made their money. And it was funny because I got a kick out of it. I said, the only people who really hated me were the insurance companies. And I mean that. So while we were doing that, Sarasota store was funny because we ended up, whenever I go to an area, I don't stay in a hotel. And if I do, it's a dive hotel. We don't ever leave the hotel. We stay inside, read the paper, get bullcrap to eat, a McDonald's sandwich every morning. Nobody leaves to go out to bars or anything. We don't want to be known in that area. So one time we go, and you got to remember this, 3 New Yorkers. And we said, let's go camping. So we go to Mayaca State Park in the Sarasota. It's east of Sarasota because we're on the West Coast. So it's inland. It's a state park, alligators, the whole works. So we got 3 New Yorkers. We didn't even know how to open up the tent. True story. We did not have to open up the tent. So we're in there, and sure enough, we try to open the tent. We don't do the open the tent, but we had a grill. So we had a grill, and what happens? And a raccoon steals my hamburger right off the grill. I wasn't going to stand for that. And I ended up getting that raccoon. We ended up finding out later there were rabid raccoons in the park. Literally. So this thing could have been rabid because that's what they did. They're not scared of humans. They go right up to humans. And that's, I didn't even know about any of that kind of stuff. But I ended up getting that raccoon with a 9-iron and ended up feeding it to their alligators because there were 12, 11, 12, 15, big, huge alligators, the heads that size. And it was right near a bridge in Mayaca State Park, huge alligators. And I'll never forget that trip. Here we are, New Yorkers, trying to do that. And I got a kick out of that the whole time. But, I said it earlier, but I'll say it again, everybody likes diamonds, and diamond is going to be the third largest purchase you will ever make. Just remember that. When you go thinking about diamonds and you think about when you think about buying a diamond, think about it. You're going to buy a house in your life, you're going to buy a car, of course, and you're going to buy a diamond for your wife, usually. And diamonds could be, they give you all these ways and how much you should spend. It's all BS. Sometimes you can get really, really nice diamonds, small, very high quality. In my opinion, they're better. But don't be taken by these diamond guys. Ask for certain things. Always ask for a light reflection box, which talks about the geometry of a diamond. the cut, clarity, color, and carat size. That's your 4 C's. And know about them, but know about the cut, and that's the geometry of a diamond. If they don't even tell you about that, if a jewelry store does not have a 10 powered microscope on the countertop, walk out. Walk out, because they're not looking to show you under a 10 powered microscope, because that's the only way to see real flaws in a diamond. So I want you to understand that. That's going to conclude chapter 4. So I hope you're enjoying this way I'm doing it. Seems pretty easy or a little bit more comfortable for me. You can still listen to the whole chapter. I think it's word by word on Spotify and also on iTunes, and a link below. Hope you're enjoying it. Accept your comments. Thanks for watching. Please pass the word. Have a great day. Thank you.